F404, F414, we signed a deal. The Prime Minister went to the US, everything hunky-dory, except that the engines are not coming. And which is why Tejas can't fly. Now, there is another thing. I've spoken to some senior Air Force officers who have now retired, and they say that while we have American helicopters and we have American drones and we have American technology in the Air Force, we don't have fixed wing fighter. We also have big transport aircraft.
Yeah, C-130 and Hercules and
all that, Globemaster. We have all of that. But we don't have fixed wing fighters or fighter aircraft, American fighter aircraft. So we have the Rafale, which is essentially French, and
Sukhois,
we have Sukhois, and we have MiGs, and we even have a squadron or two of Tejas, but we do not have American fighters. Now, this is something that the US has wanted to pitch to India, buy from us. Case in point is the F-21. Case in point, and we'll make this for you. This is an F-16, but it's modified and it has the DNA of the F-35 and the F-22 Raptor, and this is an A-grade plane, etc. Whatever pitch they have given now. My question is this stopping of the supply of these two engines arm twisting, or is there a genuine problem? Is it arm twisting?
I would say in terms of defense cooperation, there's like a steady growth in US-India partnership, and I show that in the chapter 3 of the book, which is on the US partnership. But you don't get spectacular returns because they have a lot of conditionalities and clearances and the whole bureaucracy for moving forward many things. We had the Defense Technology Trade Initiative, DTTI,
yes,
that was signed like more than a decade ago. It did not yield any spectacular outcomes. It was just slow and steady, small scale coordination that was happening. So with the US, I think they still have this mindset that we should sell stuff and not share any proprietary know-how to anyone. We are cutting edge. We are the best in the world. We should not just give away our core advantages and just easily give it even to our allies or partners.
Yes.
So India, of course, is what they call major defense partner, which is kind of like a quasi-ally type of a status, not a full ally. And they, I think, are of the view that we should not just let this rising country become fully self-reliant. That's my reading, So whether it is Trump or Biden, the establishment view is that we should give them in bits and we should sell stuff. And with Trump, he brags, be it with Saudi Arabia, be it with Israel, be it with India, anyone who is a major defense partner of the US and with whom they have long military sales history, he likes to brag that, this prime minister or this president just ordered another 50 billion or another 100 billion of American aircraft or weapons.
He likes that. He likes that
because he shows that that's how I'm creating jobs in Pennsylvania or Wisconsin or in Michigan. So I think he will want to continue being this seller, but I think the times have changed since Trump's first term to now. We are moving forward with our self-reliance agenda, and we will not want to be in this buyer-seller thing. So I think these delays should be overcome, but he will always say that we jointly co-design, co-manufacture, we train your engineers and your technicians, we ultimately hand over everything, and then you can make your stuff on your own. Will you become a second China? No, they have somewhere in the back of their mind. Let's be frank, no friend is completely selfless. They are friends with us because they get benefits from us, So
and vice versa.
And of course, we also benefit. We are not being exploited by the US. We are a very confident country under Narendra Modi. So at the same time, there is that hangover of not wanting to give everything on a platter to India.
Like they did with China 40 years back.
That's right. And of course, there are strong supporters of the US-India partnership in the Capitol Hill, in the Congress, and we have a huge growing. You see this election, Gaurav, the way Trump came out openly and spoke about Hindu Americans and
yes,
how they are the core base for him and how much he loves them. So overall, I think we will have a huge lobby there now. The lobby that we normally have in Washington DC will be multiplied many-fold because the diaspora and all. And most interesting factor, we spoke about the other minority groups, Gaurav, at the beginning of the podcast. Indian Americans, the data suggests at least 10 to 15% there is a movement in favor of Republicans, in favor of Trump. Historically, it used to be like more than 70 to 80% used to always vote for Democrats. and for Biden, for Obama in the past, right, and even for Hillary Clinton, this election there is a shift, and a lot of them are enthused by Trump's message. So they will all be very powerful, or like power brokers there.
Also, that he's perceived to be a friend of Prime Minister Modi, and
that fact is there.
Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar and all of that.
We'll see a lot of the bromance again now.
Yeah.
The bromance is coming back. And Biden was awkward, and secondly, because of the ideological lack of congruence, because they were judging India through some very biased lenses,
Yes.
that there's something wrong with minorities and
the democracy index.
Yeah.
Or some.
So I think all those things will now be in place, and I think the defense relationship will also go forward, because the diaspora has historically pushed for these things. And now we have more than 4 million Indian Americans there, and many of them are now very close to Trump. They are going to be in very senior positions in the new Trump administration from 2025. So those things we can, take advantage of or capitalize. If there are delays, if there are, long gaps between promise and delivery, we can push the Americans faster, because we can't afford the power gap with China to widen in our own backyard, right? And Trump doesn't understand those things. Typically, Trump doesn't care whether China is becoming a hegemon in Asia or something. He doesn't think on those lines.
Yes.
He'll simply say that if China is giving me money, it's also okay. It's also a partner, and I'll also deal. If India is giving me money, I'll also deal with them. But
he's a businessman, basically.
Yeah. But there is a system. There is a bureaucracy, the so-called permanent deep state, or whatever you want to call it, the permanent establishment. They will say that India should be prioritized more. So we have to work with them. We have to work with the diaspora. We have to work with the India caucus in the Congress, and that should be our game, going forward. Our External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, has already said that with Trump coming in, he expects more hedging to happen. What he's trying to say is that people are unsure about whether Trump will really commit the US to come to your support if you are attacked by China, right? Or if in the case of Europe, if you are attacked by Russia. So partners and allies, they need assurance. That will not come from Trump. Trump will continue to say, nobody is a partner. Even my partner can be my enemy because the partner is cheating me or is taking advantage of me, right? But the system is such that we should be able to understand which are the parts of the American polity and the society which can be our reliable long-term advocates and lobbies. And I think we're going to work on that very steadily. And we have those entries directly to Trump now because of the politics and the changing currents of politics in the US.